Hello and welcome to today's edition of Severe Thunderstorm Outlooks. I have up here first the EPS. This is the European models run. It's twice a week, and it just basically takes different parameters. And what you're looking at here is the 500 millibar flow, which is what we'll just call the jet stream. And it just kind of runs it out for 7 days and takes the mean of where all the heights, is what they're called on this type of map, are going to be. What's it good for identifying? Basically, longer patterns of weather. So this right here is an upper level ridge, high pressure, and that's where the center of the heat is going to be, or very near to it anyway. This is a ridge of high pressure that extends northward. This is a trough here, and the mean flow is going to be suggesting a couple of things about that. First of all, this is going to support cold fronts. Probably should have changed the blue. And the jet stream is going to be stronger here. So both of those contribute to severe weather. And you'll see as we get into the next 7 days that the severe weather definitely shifts into the northeast. Today, a pretty benign pattern, really. A lot of level ones, which is a marginal risk up in the northern Rockies, this long stretch from Indiana down to Florida, and then here in the Great Lakes states, another little area. Now, interestingly, the hail and the wind parameters are all at 5% or lower. The tornado percentage, though, is at 2%. And whenever a tornado shows up at all in any kind of capacity, I usually show it. So this is for the Arrowhead region of Minnesota, about the northern third of Wisconsin, and just about all of the upper peninsula of Michigan. Looking at Colorado State University's thunderstorm probabilities, we do see a little blurb up there, mostly over Lake Superior, but a little bit into the UP there of tornado risk. And again, kind of quiet on the hail, kind of quiet on the wind, very sporadic at best. Then we shift our attention to Saturday. That's when, again, things heat up as that jet stream flow begins to increase and meets with, abundant moisture and instability. We have this pretty large level 2, a little bit of a level 1 out here right around the Continental Divide between Idaho and Montana. And then zooming in on the East Coast, basically from the southern suburbs of Chicago and right around Champaign-Urbana, due east to New York City is where the number 2 slight risk area occurs. It encompasses all of New York State, pretty much all of West Virginia, all of Virginia, pretty close. Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, all these areas, Ohio, even Detroit is in this, New York City, Pittsburgh, Richmond, the nation's capital, Albany, New York, all these, Buffalo, Syracuse, Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, all in that slight risk area for tomorrow. Now, the tornado risk goes up a little bit to a 5% chance of any strength tornado within 25 miles. And that, again, covers some of those cities I mentioned earlier, but a subset of them. So the highest risk is Cleveland, Erie, Buffalo, Rochester, over to Scranton, New York, Harrisburg, and Pittsburgh right on the line for that. And again, that's for Saturday, tomorrow. And if you take a look at NATOcast's risk from the 12Z data today, the 7 a.m. data, they put a 10% tornado bullseye right there in the center and southern part of New Jersey with a pretty substantial 5% risk arcing around that. So again, that's probably something to watch. And I took a look also at StormNet with the tornado setting. And for Saturday, from the time frame to 5 to 6 indicated appear, there's a little bit, getting into the 15% chance maybe right around Binghamton and Scranton and that area. And if you look at the hours previous and ahead of this, it basically goes from here to here. So yeah, an evening event right around dinner time in that area, maybe a little more east toward New York City within the next few hours after that. There is a wind risk tomorrow. It does show up substantial enough to talk about, so we have a 30% chance here in about that same area as the tornado risk roughly. So that's a 30% chance of a severe wind risk, 59 miles per hour or greater within 25 miles. NATOcast gets very enthusiastic about this forecast. As a matter of fact, now that I'm looking at this, they have 60% as this darker purple color here. And then there's another color, it looks like black, and it's not even indicated here. So I guess I don't even know what that would be. If it follows the SPC, I think it would be 75%. I'm not sure, but basically a wind risk, big wind risk for Pittsburgh, New Jersey, New York City, Philadelphia, Washington, Newark, those areas. And if you look at CSU's outlook for Saturday, again, pretty impressive with the wind, but not as excited. But the same basic areas from Indiana into Ohio, and then from North Carolina northward to around Maryland or so, with a little tornado risk at about 5% centered there around Philadelphia and all of New Jersey. Then we go to Sunday, and you'll see this risk starts to shift a little bit. It'll pick back up again, but now from Charlotte to the coastal areas of Virginia and North Carolina, there's a level 2 risk. That's Sunday now. And the wind seems to be the primary driving force behind that outlook, as verified by CSU. They have a little 10% bullseye there, right in southeast North Carolina. Then this is really enhanced quite a bit now, these next few days. Monday, the jet stream continues to send fronts in that northwest stream of air. So Wisconsin's back in the highlight, as is much of Iowa, northern Illinois, including Chicago, UP of Michigan. And so basically the Great Lakes states in that 15% chance of any type of severe weather within 25 miles. And again, anytime the Storm Prediction Center puts this 15% risk out, any day this is the way they do it, by the way, for day 4, which would be starting on Monday and going forward. It's significant enough to take notice because they're seeing organized patterns of severe weather, consistency in the models, these types of things. So there's SPC's forecast, and then CSU is painting about the same picture, maybe a little bit bigger than what Storm Prediction Center has outlined. Then we go to Tuesday. This shifts again along with the frontal boundary from southern Indiana into, again, Pennsylvania and New York State, including all of Ohio. Cities included be Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Louisville, Columbus, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Scranton, Binghamton, Buffalo, and Syracuse, New York. And here is that outlook here on the right, and on the left, it's where the CSU is putting it. It shifts it substantially more to the south and east, so we'll see how that plays out. But I did go ahead and look at the tornado risk for Tuesday, and it does show up right around Pittsburgh, PA. That gets into that green area there. That's about 30% or so, and much of Pennsylvania has enough risk worth mentioning this many days out. Then on Wednesday, again, this frontal system is slow moving, and it shifts eastward again. So once again, southern New Jersey through Washington and Baltimore, Richmond, Virginia Beach, down to Raleigh, Fayetteville, Winston-Salem area, even Charlotte barely in that for Wednesday for that 15% severe weather risk, which is indicated here. And yes, CSU kind of verifies that roughly in the same spot. And then finally, the supercell outlooks here for the first week, pretty quiet in terms of percentages, but the pattern definitely supports that northwest flow. And then the second week, which goes through from the 24th through the 30th, huge arc of supercell outlook from Illinois, arcing all the way back to North Dakota and into Canada. It's very interesting to me to see that. And then we go to week 3. Looks like the high plains, so that would support kind of troughiness out here with a return flow of moisture like this for that period. But again, that's week 3. That's July 31st through August 6th. That's quite a ways out, and I see, of course, the most variability, as you would expect, in the longest range forecast.